Now, in terms of housing, because the government is blaming international students for the creation of the housing crisis, yet part of the problem, as far as I could see, in fact, is the fact that the federal government walked away from building social housing back in 1993 by the Liberals, and in 1992, the Conservatives canceled the co-op housing program and simply just rely on the private sector to deliver housing. That clearly, for over 3 decades, has not addressed the housing crisis that we now face. Now, institutions had historically, there's been times where they partnered with different levels of government to provide and build student housing. Do you think there should be a program like that in place where all the partners are required to make contributions in building student housing?
I think that's something that we've advocated for, and we thank the current government for sort of giving us some of that through the Canada Housing Strategy last year. You mentioned the lack of partnership with co-op housing in 1992. That is actually one of the things that we advocated for with Minister Fraser in the past, to include co-op and institutions to be able to access funding from the Canada Housing Strategy. To your question, I think it is something that all stakeholders should partner with to solve the affordability crisis. I think the allocation of international students as the cause of the housing crisis is an unfair one. I've been in Canada since 2012, and even before the increase in international students, housing has always been an issue. Affordability is more the issue that we're facing now as a country, and I think it's important to recognize that, like, international students are also victims in this situation, but they could be part of the solution, because if we encourage them to go into trades programs where they can help contribute to the construction of this housing, that could help reduce the affordability of the housing. That could help decrease, help with the affordability crisis that we're facing in housing in general as well.
Yeah, Canada used to go about to the international community saying and trying to actually attract international students. This about face is stark in terms of that message. How do you think the international community is receiving that, and what damage does that do to Canada's reputation?
If I go back to some of the things I've heard in my community, I think it's very concerning to international students, because the message that we put forth as Canada is one of welcoming, loving, and very kind people. A lot of the rhetoric being put out there is not one that represents those values, in my opinion. A lot of the anti-immigration rhetoric that we're seeing is mostly affecting South Asian and predominantly Black students, and those are students that we have invited to come to this country to access, like, our education system. I think we have to think about that when we're putting out such rhetoric, because Canada is a country that I believe, as well as our organization believes, to be welcoming and diverse, and these students are important for the diversity and cultural fabric of Canada.